Hello everybody and welcome to the Decks of the Weekend, my weekly video where I go over the decks that caught my attention the most amongst the format that I follow. And we're starting as always with Modern, where one of the pet deck of mine at the moment, Mono Black Coffers, did very well in the Energy event, which was a 212 people event that happened in America, and two Mono Black Coffers made the top 8. This list in particular came all the way to the finals, and it's playing a new card. So, new card alert here, Sunken Citadel. This is a land that comes into play tapped, and it gives you 2 mana to spend to activate ability of lands you control, which happens to be Demolition Field, Field of Ruin, and also Cabal Coffers. So, a curve of turn 1 Second Citadel, turn 2 Urborg, turn 3 Cabal Coffers, can bump you up of 1 mana because you're tapping just the Citadel and the Coffers to get 3 mana. And then, the longer the game goes, the more Second Citadel will give you mana. Again, every time you have a Field of Ruin, usually you go -2 because you tap 2 and you use Field of Ruin to get a Swamp. But with Second Citadel, you go -1 mana only. So that is definitely an upside. Whether I think this card is good or not in Mono Black Coffers, I find it still, needed to be tested for sure. It's hard for me to think that a top land is good, but if you go manage to like feel your curve, like playing, let's say, turn 2, Fatal Push, Sunken Citadel, then this one will definitely get its boost later in the game. I wrote on Channel Fireball, which is the platform where I write my articles, my deck guides, my free articles. So you go to Channel Fireball Modern. I wrote my own version of Mono Black Coffers, which is slightly different, and you can check it all here. There is also a very large cyber guide as always. So check that out. But mainly, what I say in the article is that I don't like Discard Spell, and I like to have Fortnite's Whisper because I want to be better against Scam. Casey, the player I'm showing here, lost in the finals to Scam, which is probably still like a decent matchup with this version, but much worse because you don't actually have a sideboard, and you might bring in Leyline, but I don't believe in Leyline. If you follow my content, I know I don't want to play with this card in Modern. And so, like, overall, this list is maybe better against, you know, Tosses is just overall a great card against any non-scam matchup. So it makes sense, I would say, but I'm still on the fence about it. But yeah, overall, I like this list. The 4 Shieldred is also interesting. This is a card that I used to play too, but I went up to 3. 4 is still a lot, but I guess with Sunken Citadel, you can cast a 4-drop on turn 3 now with the Dream Curve. So the 4 Urborg, 4 Coffers is what mostly gets played these days. But yeah, I like this list, and I like to see a new card here. In the weekend, there was obviously a bunch of other results. I believe Remy Fortier won a challenge with Rhinos with Tishana, which is definitely a card that's popular. And today, actually, I'll be making my modern power ranking for Channel Fireball, which will go up in the next days. And then on Wednesday, I leave for vacation. So I won't be doing decks of the weekend for the next week, but my YouTube video will definitely schedule one video a day. Let's move on with Pioneer. There was the 3 more three more regional championship, and there's gonna be a last one, the American one. The Discover combo that I talked to you about last week was definitely the talk of the time, with Quintorius Can doing a huge flop in basically every RC it showed up. But the Discover combo with Geological Appraiser did well. There was a bunch of RC won by it, and the deck performed very well. So if you want to play Discover combo, don't go for the Puntoros conversion, but go for the Discover one. On the other hand, this was the list that won in Japan in the final against Blue Eye Control, and it was a Transmogrify Atraxa version. So what you're doing is that you have Courier Briefcase, Careful Cultivation, Fable, and Ezeka's Chariot, and you use Transmogrify to target that and go get Atraxa. So you also a mid-range deck. You even have Karn that can go get a tiny, only 2 Karn and go get a little bit package of Crypt, Needle, Sphere. Dumping Sphere can stop the Geological Appraiser combo, and of course the Lotus Field combo as well. So yeah, this was the list that won the event, which is definitely something that we don't see every day. Careful Cultivation, a Pioneer staple now with that pay 2 mana discard, get a Llanowar Elf basically. Torch the Tower over Fatal Push because Torch the Tower is able to kill a Geological Upraiser with ability on the staff from mana 3-2. You kill it before they can cast a Glasspool Mimic or a Eldritch Evolution. So that's how you stop their combo. Granted, they can just pick up the card in their hand if it's a Mimic and so on. But yeah, this is definitely a good answer to the Geological Appraiser combo deck in particular. But overall, I think that Pioneer is definitely in a combo moment. There are either extremely fast combo decks or decks with tunnel removal or interaction. So it might be, it's like the old modern that you might remember. If you play two combo decks, one against each other, it sucks. But if you play an interactive deck versus a combo deck, it might actually be fun. And I think that this is, the Upraiser Quintor's Can maybe is making Pioneer more fun, in my opinion, because it's pushing this extreme interaction that's actually good rather than before, where interacting with mono green Nykthos wasn't good enough because it was still like the best late game and stuff like that. So this might be actually a better format with the speed that came up. There's also like Boros Heroic and some other decks that are doing well. Although worth mentioning that the RC in Canada at 4 is at Phoenix in the top 8, which is definitely another take thing that might change the metagame once again. But the Pioneer is going to have one more RC in America in the middle of December, and then it's going to be the PT in February with the new set. So there is a lot of Pioneer competitive magic. Again, I won't show it on my channel because it doesn't do too well when I put the full video of a full league of Pioneer, but I'll definitely play it by myself. And if you are interested in this, there is the podcast that we make every week with Anthony and Javier, and we will definitely talk about Pioneer this episode. I don't know for how long though, because we are approaching the PT, so the competitive thing. Okay, let's talk about Legacy now, which is the other format I love to play and talk about on this platform that I have. And there was the Eternal Weekend in Japan. The top four saw three four-color Uro deck and one Boros Initiative that ended up winning the event. And you can check it all out on MTG Melee. If you don't know how to check on MTG Melee, it's actually quite easy. You just write MTG Melee, you go to Decklist, Decklist database, and then you click your format Legacy, and then this is how you scroll it. Big Magic, 664 players, 10 rounds of Swiss, and the winner was, as I said, Boros Initiative by Takahiro Ikeda against the 3-4 color Uro. But the deck I wanted to show you is the one that came first in the Swiss without even drawing a single time, even at the end. 10-0, Yuki Kubo. He was playing Upsal spells, which is clearly good against the 4-color Uro, although it did lose to it in the top 8. But regardless of that, I guess luck might have run out for him. This is not a deck that we basically ever see doing well in long events. It's mostly like a deck to grind Magic online leagues fast, but it is something super powerful, something that can kill you as early as turn 1 with extra protection. The protection usually comes from Pact of Negation. This list obviously wins the game with Interested Informer and Balustra Spy, milling your whole deck and then killing your opponent with Thassa's Oracle and Dread Return. But you have some strange card here like Land of Sanctity and Land of Anticipation, which is a card that can kill your opponent in their upkeep. That is kind of brutal. If you lose die roll and you reveal an Anticipation, you can kill them in upkeep, which is just an insane thing to do in Magic. But it can happen, and I'm sure it happened again. This person went 10-0. In their sideboard, they have Reanimate, which is, I guess you can set it in against Reanimator, as well as if your opponent counters the Balustra Spy, you can just reanimate it back. And some extra protection and an extra combo key with Charbelcher. This deck is super fast to play with, so I might actually play it on the channel, but we'll see. But yeah, not something I'm too interested to play, but definitely something that was important to show because people usually underrate this deck strategy, and people is me. I underrate this deck strategy when I build my sideboard for a paper event, especially because people don't tend to play these decks, or it doesn't tend to do well in long events, but it did do extremely well in the Eternal Weekend in Japan. That's it. for this week of Decks of the Weekend. I hope you enjoyed listening to this. And again, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the gameplay video, which will happen every day at the same time, which is 6 p.m. time zone. I have scheduled a lot of videos, one every day for the time I am not at home, which is the nice thing I like about YouTube. I can, it's like I'm there, but I'm not actually. Thank you so much, and have a great week.